The Luxardo cherries, those make an old fashioned for me.
Yeah, those are very, very good.
Yeah. Oh. Just thinking about it.
It's starting to do
We're
it.
gonna go. Maybe. Starting.
It's going.
Yeah.
We're doing it. We're doing it.
Starting. Stream health.
Starting
yeah.
it. Come
Still
on.
starting. Hey!
Come on,
there
Internet.
we go.
Come on!
We are live. Welcome to Talking Heads, episode 9. I looked it up beforehand.
Yeah.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Steve.
Welcome. Thanks for joining us this evening. How was your Thanksgiving?
That was good.
Good?
Yeah, I deep fried a turkey.
Excellent.
Yeah, it was a nice. It was surprising. It was a beer-based inject that I put in there.
Oh, nice.
It was a beer and butter, and I put like some soy sauce, some fish sauce, some garlic powder, onion powder, kind of mixed it all up.
Nice.
Injected it into the turkey.
Yeah.
Deep fried it in a bunch of peanut oil. It was spectacular.
We decided to out-American the American holiday. We did ribs.
Oh,
Yeah,
like beef ribs or pork ribs?
Beef ribs.
Oh,
and
sorry.
barbecued them up, slathered them in sauce.
I do. I like beef.
yeah.
I like beef ribs. I mean, I do appreciate a good pork rib.
A good pork rib is good.
Is good.
Nothing on a beef rib.
Beef rib is the way to do it.
Yep,
yes, it's
absolutely.
very, very good.
Well, let's crack open a couple bottles.
Yeah. What do you want? Do you want to start with the father of all tsunamis, or you want to start with?
Let's go IPA and let's finish dark.
Okay, that sounds
If
good.
that sounds good to you.
That sounds good to me.
All right. So we're doing a little different today. We actually went and picked up a couple growlers this afternoon. So John says, "Let's go already." Shut up, John. All right. So this is the Barley Brown over Hopulation. It's an 8.5% double IPA.
Yeah.
And of course, I hate pouring out of a
Growler.
full growler.
Yeah.
See if we can get a nice head on
Oh,
that.
that's pretty good.
That ain't
I
bad
like
at
that.
all.
I like that.
That's pretty solid.
Let you pour mine.
Oh, I can already smell the citrus on
Yeah,
that.
no, it's very good.
Oh, that's...
I had a taster of this. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get a growler of that.
Yeah, I had a taster of the second one we're drinking tonight. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, no, I had a taster of that one too.
Yeah.
But look at that, just enough head on
Oh,
there.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's got a real complex...
It does. It kind of has that almost sweaty armpit IPA taste that.
Yeah. If you don't like the hard-hitting hops, this is not the IPA for you. This is for the people who crack them off the vine and kind of go...
Yeah, it's got that right off the bat. It's got that real pungent hoppy note, but in the back end, it's got a nice citrusy sweet flavor almost.
Yeah.
So you kind of
almost like a grapefruit kind of a taste.
Yeah, you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
You get the super bitterness,
That's
and you
good.
get the sweet tropicalness of some of those things. Very, very good.
That is solid.
I liked it.
Let's roll the intro here, as is tradition. I gotta update the intro. I gotta get something fancy because we're starting to get a rhythm and a routine here. We usually start off by cracking open the beer.
Yeah.
We go to beer news and then tech news or whatever talking points are. I need to start doing little transition pieces.
You gotta have like the old school THX, but it's a 0.1.
Yeah.
But you gotta do it with like take like a sample of opening a bottle and then slow it down. Like and then increase the bass on it or something.
Oh, yeah.
Just to see how that sounds and then make that.
Yeah, my intro is actually like 7 different sounds that I cut together into like a 4-second clip.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, something I can do.
We can do something like that.
My outro, if you watch my normal videos, is it's actually got a Transformer hum. It's still a bottle pop.
Wait, is it Transformer hum from the Michael Bay, or is it from like the old?
No, like an old like the old
Transformer.
green boxes that outside.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you laid on those as a kid. Yeah, it's like someone recorded one of those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's that. It's a Transformer hum. It's a bottle pop. It's a little blip sound, and I think the final hit is a tube TV turning off, as well as someone like slapping the back of a guitar. It's all mixed in there.
It's a little bit of a Hanson song in there. Slapping the guitar.
Yeah. I apologize for that. Oh, that was terrible. All right, beer news this week.
Yeah.
Let me.
Let's get into the beer
you know what? Ooh,
news.
shoot! I didn't set up my my monitor properly. Hold up, while I fix that. You're gonna have to bear with me, I guess. Okay. Oh no, we can't view my screen.
Uh-oh.
Shoot. Because I changed my monitors after I had started OBS.
That's good.
Ooh, okay. Tell you what, we put all the links in the video description. Maybe you can just follow with us at home. I don't think there's going to be a lot of visual stuff.
Yeah,
tonight,
it doesn't matter.
Unless I want to stop and restart.
If there's something we really need to show you, we'll just pantomime it.
There you go.
We'll do.
Yeah, we'll act it out.
Interpretive dance.
We'll act
Maybe
it out.
We'll do something like that.
Why is it I always screw up my show with you on the show? I mean, we ran 8 minutes without audio last time.
Well, it's because as soon as I get here, we start drinking.
That's right.
And I'm a distraction. And I'm a bad influence.
Oh, and I hit the tap house on my way home from work.
Yeah,
I got one of the growlers.
I did too. I wasn't on my way home. I left home.
Yeah,
Went to the tap house.
So I got off work. I swung by the tap house. Had a pint while I was there. Came home. Steve got off work. Went to his house. Had dinner. Went to the tap house. Bought a growler and had a pint there.
Yeah.
Then came here. He got here. We did a shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. We're fine.
Well, you got to start off right. I mean, you don't want to be slouch and lazy.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Got to start things off right.
Yeah. All right. So in beer news this week, there was announced a 30th anniversary edition or 30th anniversary special edition ale.
Yes.
After Star Trek: The Next Generation Captain's Holiday episode.
Yes.
Which you watched the episode earlier.
I did. Okay, so
how does it hold up, Steve?
Yeah, it holds up horribly, but okay. So this if you're a big Star Trek: Next Generation fan and you're a beer fan too, I recommend trying to find this thing. Mm-hmm. I personally am. I looked for it in my local area. John's Marketplace might have it. I don't know, but this was brewed on the East Coast. It's by Schmaltz Brewing. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're very familiar. Have you ever seen Hebrew? Did you ever see the Hebrew beer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep talking.
Okay.
I'm sorry if I blank out. I'm messing with this. I'm trying to get.
Yeah. So those people who make the Hebrew stuff, they're the same guys who make this stuff. But this is based on an episode of Next Generation called Captain's Holiday. Yeah. And it's where Picard goes to is it
what are you doing?
Ryzen, yeah. Ryzen.
Window capture.
Which is kind of funny because there's rhizomes from hops, right? Ryzen. Right?
Firefox. Hey, there we go.
There we go.
All right.
Now we got pictures.
Just a little ingenuity. Let me put my overlay back over the top. Hey,
look at that. We're good.
All right. Like it never even happened.
On the fly tech support. Good job. But anyway, they have this commemorative Star Trek Next Generation beer that you can get called Captain's Holiday. Mm-hmm. And it's based on the episode called Captain's Holiday, which I watched today, and it was horrible.
It's like a late season 1, early season 2 episode.
Yeah.
If you need any indication of how bad, and John, I know you're watching. John will.
It's his favorite episode, probably.
Yeah, it probably is. John will punch me on show next week if I say this, but the first 3 seasons of Next Generation, terrible.
Yeah.
They were barely good when they were new.
Yeah. They didn't get good until the Borg were introduced.
Well, Riker grew the beard.
Yeah. Well, okay. I watched this episode today. I could have swore Riker had a beard.
Really?
This one. I think so. But he wasn't in it for very long.
Right.
He was only in it like the first couple minutes.
Yeah.
And it was a more Picard focused episode.
Yeah.
But still, it was very. Oh man, I looked dated. I haven't watched Next Generation in a while, and this one kind of shocked me about how.
I do have the Blu-ray remasters, and I've been thinking about going back and rewatching them. So at least the effects will be decent.
Yeah.
The acting still regrettable.
Yeah. Well, hey, Picard does a pretty good job, I think, as far as acting goes. But it's still some of the dialogue and storylines is just cheesy as hell. But hey, they're still good. It's a good old fun time.
Yeah. All right. This one I'm interested in, even though I live kind of out in the country. I'm not within city limits at all. So Domino's is the only place that will deliver to me, and they switch that policy once every 3 months without telling me.
Domino's is not great pizza.
It's okay.
It's decent. I mean, pizza is pizza.
When I'm craving pizza at 12:30 at night, Domino's will do.
Fine. Yeah, that's the same. Yeah,
which is convenient because they're the only people who will deliver to me.
Right.
Anyway, Pizza Hut is testing beer and wine delivery through their stores. Yeah,
they are currently only doing it in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we are not Phoenix, Arizona, but they I guess are only doing Anheuser-Busch brands right now, which I guess is limited to like Budweiser, Bud Light.
Yeah, they're doing the big ones, the Shock Top, Budweiser, Bud Light, and Four Peaks.
Yeah, and I guess in the article they also mentioned Kilt Lifter, which I've had some Kilt Lifter before, and they're okay. But the part that kind of sucks is it doesn't matter which beer you get. If you get Bud Light, they're still going to charge you $10.99 for the beer that they deliver you.
Right.
At that point, you might as well get the good microbrew Kilt Lifter because they're still going to charge you $10.99. It's a $10.99 flat fee no matter what you get.
Right.
I cannot imagine. I mean, it doesn't really say if they're going to give you, I think it's like a couple bottles or something.
I mean, if it's a 6-pack, that's an okay deal for a resale delivery.
Right, right.
And I mean, that's what I'll pay for a 6-pack for most of the stuff.
But if you get a 6-pack of Bud Light, for craft beer, that's good. But if it's a 6-pack for Bud Light, that's a horrible deal.
It's a horrible deal.
That's a horrible deal.
That's like $4.
Yeah,
is what it should be.
Yeah.
So we'll see if it takes off. It's an interesting idea.
It is an interesting idea.
Who doesn't like pizza with their beer?
Right, exactly. And there's going to be probably some humps that they got to get through like different state regulations and stuff like that. I guess Arizona, they don't care.
Yeah.
Like, you can just drive over and give beer to anybody, apparently. Yeah. But, that's what it is.
Holding the pistol in your...
Well, I mean, Arizona is so hot over there.
Yeah.
No one wants to leave their house.
That's true.
They don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
They just want to stay in during the day.
Warning, Oregonian incoming weather rant.
Yeah.
I have spent 14 hours of my life in Phoenix, and it was 13 hours and 59 minutes too long.
Inside, it's all inside. Yeah. I remember going to Phoenix.
Yeah.
And here in the Pacific Northwest, when it's sunny outside, everybody's outside. Mm-hmm. You see people running, biking, doing all kinds of stuff. Everybody's outside doing stuff. So when I go to Phoenix, it's very sunny outside. Mm-hmm. There's nobody outside.
Yeah, there's no one on the streets.
There's no one on the streets. Everybody's either in their car or in their house. No one goes outside. And it's not until very late at night or very early in the morning that there's people actually outside doing things. So nobody wants to go anywhere.
Yeah, when I say I spent 14 hours in Phoenix, it was 14 hours in Phoenix in August.
Oh, that's the worst kind.
We had a plane with a malfunction on it. We didn't catch our connecting flight.
So were you inside the plane when it was stuck on the tarmac?
I was coming home from Oklahoma, and I was in Oklahoma. I had a connecting flight to hit in Phoenix, and then it was a direct flight back home.
Okay.
What happened was there was a problem with our plane in Oklahoma, and we were delayed almost 2.5 hours because they had already loaded all the luggage up. They were doing final flight checks, and then it failed, and so they had to unload all the luggage and get a new plane, get all the luggage loaded back up, and go through flight checks on that one.
Wait, which airline was this?
This was Southwest.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, we finally get on the plane, and they tell us if you're heading to Portland, you're not going to hit your connecting flight. And we'll deal with it when we hit Phoenix. So we land in Phoenix, and I landed in Phoenix at 10:30 at night. When I landed, it was 106 degrees.
It's a pleasant 106 degrees.
Now, to Southwest's credit, they put me up in a nice hotel. We stayed at the Grand Hyatt in Phoenix, and they paid for my dinner, and we had some drinks, and it was an okay experience there. My plane left at like 2 o'clock the next afternoon. When I woke up at 6 in the morning, it had cooled down to 99, and it was already on its way back up.
Oh yeah. No, it's
and when we left, it was like 117. I mean, it was absolutely miserable.
Yeah. No, it's a place where they have services where they have ice shipped out to your swimming pool to cool down your swimming pool, so you can swim in it during the day. Otherwise, you're swimming in 100-degree.
Right. Otherwise, you're cooking.
Yeah, you're cooking in the water. You got boiling water out there. Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
That's no way to live.
Yeah, that's no way to live.
Yeah. Man was not meant to live in Phoenix. But
no.
Some people do.
Phoenix is a giant middle finger to God's plan. That's all it really is. All right, Budweiser plans on shooting some barley into space.
Yeah.
I didn't read this article.
This one's. I mean, I was kind of interested in this thing. I thought it was going to be a little more involved. All they're really doing is they're going to send some barley up into the International Space Station, and they're going to see how it germinates once it's up there. They want to see the germination process. Now that's kind of important because you want to have the grains cracked when you're doing your when you want to make beer. You got to have the grains cracked a certain way, and they have to be slightly germinated so you can extract the sugars out of it. So that's kind of an important step when you're wanting to brew stuff. I mean, the article kind of like goes into a little bit about how Budweiser wants to be the first beer on Mars.
Right.
I guess this is the first step to see how barley reacts into microgravity.
Yeah.
I'm more interested to see how fermentation actually works in space. I think that would be way more interesting.
Yeah.
Because fermentation, like as you know, yeast goes in and eats the sugar, creates CO2, and CO2 escapes and it goes at the top. But when you're in zero gravity, there's no place for the CO2. It doesn't escape out the top. There's
right.
No,
it
just kind of floats around at that point.
Fermentation and distilling are both going to be very difficult because they both rely on gravity.
Yes, they do.
And so with the fermentation, it's more you're letting off that CO2 gas in a semi-contained pressure vessel, and you're using it to both carbonate and produce the alcohol.
I think because you can have pressurized containers in space and it will still react the same. It should be fine. The fermentation process, though, you have to have that off-gassing process where it has to gas off the CO2. But if you got zero microgravity or zero gravity, where's it?
How's that going to? The other question is how's that going to work in a low pressure environment? Because you also have to heat it up.
Yes, that's true.
And I don't know if you. I mean, there's a common issue we have here on Earth. Not all that common. If you climb Mount Everest, they discovered you cannot boil potatoes on Mount Everest.
Oh, really?
And the reason is the boiling point of water is too low. It doesn't actually loosen the starch in the potato.
Oh.
And so there's these hikers going up Everest. They packed a whole bunch of potatoes because they're good, starchy,
It's high calorie stuff.
High calorie stuff. And they got up there and they couldn't cook them. They had to eat them raw because they boiled them for like 4 hours and they didn't do anything.
They should have brought the distilled version of potatoes up there.
Yeah.
That would have.
I got some Spudka up there.
Oh, you have some Spudka?
I do have some Spudka.
No. Now, vodka, as people know, is like people equate, potatoes to vodka, but you don't have to have potatoes.
No,
to vodka.
most of the vodka buy is cut from grain.
It's grain. It's grain distilled. Yeah.
No, I actually have some potato vodka. It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah, I know. I've had it before too. It's like it's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Still, they're trying to make booze in space. You like that? Huh?
That's good.
I know. I do like it too. Well, I got a whole growler of it, so we can double down on it if we want to.
All right. Let's move on to tech news.
Sure.
Of course, if I can hit the right button here. Hold up. Sometimes OBS likes to do scene transitions with the keyboard when I'm in any application, and other times it'll lock it down to only OBS. So if I'm on another window, it'll bounce back and forth.
There we go.
All right. I'm thinking about building a hot button that's like a joystick button. So instead of using the keyboard input, it'll use that.
I wonder if you can get like an old KVM switch and switch it to do that or something like that.
I couldn't do KVM, but what I'm thinking is you can map joystick inputs to OBS.
And
so I can basically use a USB arcade controller, wire up my own button box, and have that as an OBS hot switch.
I have some old.
That might be a future project.
I have some old arcade switches if you want them.
I have one.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I've got the USB controller and all the buttons and everything else. Yeah, way ahead of you.
All right.
All right. On the tech news.
Oh my god!
Usually on sets, that's a beer offense.
I thought I silenced my phone.
Usually on sets, if your phone goes off, you have to buy beer.
Well, I did bring a whole growler of beer.
Yeah, so you bought a growler.
Yeah, I was predicting that would happen.
All right, on to tech news.
Tech news.
Tech news. HDMI 2.1 spec was unveiled this week.
That's right.
Allows for some pretty interesting specs.
Yeah.
Up to 10K out of a single cable, which at the moment you could kind of do 8K, but only at like 30 frames and only some of the time.
Yeah.
And even 5K had some difficulty with HDMI.
Right.
Now you can go all the way up to 10K. You can do 8K at 60.
Yeah.
And 4K at 120.
Yeah,
so,
120 frames per second.
Yeah.
4K.
Yeah. It's a huge bandwidth
big
boost.
Bandwidth. It was kind of surprising because it went from HDMI 2.0,
which is a 10 gigabit per second spec.
Right. But now they're at 2.1, which you think 2.1, that's not a very big version leap, but it is actually, as far as bandwidth goes, it's a pretty big leap.
Yeah, in the cable, they went from a 10 gigabit cable to a 50 gigabit cable.
Yes.
And it's the same physical cable. Now, some of your cables, just like the jump from 1.4 to 2.0, may not be compatible because they don't have the right gauge wiring or the proper shielding or that kind of thing.
The cable's supposed to be new. It's going to be a new cable. The plug is going to be the same.
The plug is the same.
It's backwards compatible.
Correct.
But if you want, once this gets released, if you want a 2.1, you have to buy a 2.1 cable.
Right.
But it'll still work backwards compatible or whatever you want to do.
Yep.
Yeah. This graph right here is very, very helpful.
Yep.
With some of the features that you got. This line right here at the very end.
Yep.
We got HDR, which is going to be
native HDR. The other thing was dynamic HDR, and so you can switch back and forth between HDR and non-HDR content on the same cable. Variable refresh rate built into the cable.
I thought that was very cool. The variable refresh rate, which is basically the generic version of FreeSync.
It's FreeSync G-Sync, right?
Yeah, basically the same thing. But that's going to be for like TVs that come out that support this.
Right.
You're going to have that built into that TV. That's pretty awesome. I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't know when they were going to come out, but that's going to bring the cost of all those G-Syncs and FreeSyncs monitors down probably when they come out.
Yes,
because they're going to have more competition.
Because if you're HDMI 2.1 spec capable, you have to abide by these specs, and part of the spec is you have to support variable refresh rate.
Yes,
and so. All the people complaining about G-Sync being too expensive or FreeSync monitors being your only option, but AMD cards don't support the 144 hertz, so why are we doing... that's all going to change here in the next year.
Yes.
We're hoping for a lot of announcements, possibly as soon as CES.
Yeah.
For monitors starting to support this.
Which is February. CES is February.
January.
January. Okay, yeah, January.
I know exactly what day it is.
Yes, I know. You told me you got tickets to CES. And I want to go.
I know exactly what day CES is. My first time at CES, I will be bringing some live coverage. Pre-recorded, but on the same days that CES is there. So, why are we talking about HDMI cables? Cheap versus expensive HDMI? It's a scam. No. The old argument... HDMI cables being a scam, and I'm glad you brought that up. That's actually a good point, and something that's been kind of misconstrued and not accurately applied 100% of the time. It used to be in the 90s when you went to Circuit City or Best Buy, the monster cable.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
When you went to Circuit City or Best Buy or wherever you happened to go, and you said, I need to hook up a speaker. And sales guy goes, whoa, you can buy this $12 speaker cable. Or we have this platinum encrusted unicorn, unicorn
horn spun, whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. We have this premium audio cable that you can plug in and it's going to deliver way better audio sound. That is true for analog performance to a certain point.
Yeah. With digital, that wasn't the
where
case.
It breaks down is with digital. Kind of. A 0 is a 0 and a 1 is a 1. Right. You're not going to get any better quality signal. Right. And going back to the 90s, a metal coat hanger got you the same signal as the thicker gauge monster cables did.
Yes.
So back then, it wasn't worth the extra money because all they did was use a thicker gauge cable and market it right.
Yes.
Modern day, you're not running against the zeros and ones getting through. You're running into the amount of zeros and ones getting through.
We're working with bandwidth. So,
right.
Yeah.
If any of you do Cat 5 or
Cat 6,
low voltage installation, so category cabling, and I'm talking about Ethernet cabling here. Cat 5 can run 100 megabit, and it's because there's no twists in the cable. There's 8 cables. There's no twists in it. There's no shielding, and they are a 24 AWG, I believe. Yeah, that's right. 24 gauge wire. Yeah. Cat 5e, they what they did is they twisted the individual pairs inside the cable. and provided a little bit of a shielding on the outside to protect from outside elements. You're still dealing with an analog electrical signal, but it's transmitting a 0 and a 1. And the problem is when they start getting those electrical signals closer and closer together, any interference analog-wise, like electrical interference, I ran a Cat5 cable over a fluorescent ballast, that can interfere with the signal.
Right.
So what they've done is they've shielded it and they've done larger cabling so you can get that signal through more efficiently, and they're spinning it to create kind of a little passive magnetic field that prevents the electric
interference.
Yeah. Cat6 cable, what they've done is they have those shielded pairs, or the twisted pairs, and they've shielded the individual pairs. So Cat5 is a 100 megabit cable. Cat5e is a 1 gigabit cable, or 1000 megabit. Cat6 is capable of 10 gigabit. It's what's essentially the same cable that's backwards compatible, but there is a difference. Right. This HDMI spec is the same thing. What they've done is enhance the shielding and the transmittance of the cable to get more of that data across. And when you go from HDMI 1.4, which was kind of the 100 meg cable, to a 1 gig cable to a 10 gig cable, it's the same thing. Yeah. And so, yes, there is a difference anymore between HDMI 2.0 and 2.1 certified cables. There are still limitations out there. There's people who don't follow the spec. Monster cable is still bull.
Yeah, I know. There's still but don't believe the hype and marketing. You can still, I mean, once this cable comes out,
right,
and you have devices that work with it, you don't have to get the monster cable to comply to these things. You can still probably get the $10, $5 cable, whatever, to make it work. You just got to make sure it complies to the specs.
Correct. And the deal is kind of the same as before. Is there is a difference between the $5 cable and the $20 cable, but there's not a difference between the $20 cable and the $120 cable.
Yes.
You're still going to get a better quality result, and in the case of digital signal, it either works or it doesn't. And so if you have a cable that's out of spec, you don't get dirty audio or dirty video. You get no video. And so,
unless you're watching Pornhub, then you're going to definitely get dirty video.
Then you're getting dirty video. Unless net neutrality hits, then you're going to get pixelated dirty video. Got to bring it back around to net neutrality.
Yeah, there you go.
Call your congressman. If you live in Oregon, I already checked. All of the representatives in Oregon are for net neutrality. They are against the repeal. And in fact, I tweeted out all of them. Personally, if you follow me on Twitter, you probably saw those go through this last week. I congratulated them on taking a stand for what's essentially our freedom in communication. So get a hold of your reps. The link is at the top of the video description. Govtrack.net. It tells you who your rep is in your local area, who your 2 senators for your state are, and who the representative is for you in Congress. So do it.
I just called them up and made farting noises. That worked.
That worked.
I guess.
Yep.
Because
But that's why you're on so many lists, Steve. We've talked about this.
That's why I can't fly out of the country.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think they'd prefer if you left the country.
Canada won't take me.
It's true. It's true. Not as much beer in Canada.
They got Molson, I guess.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. All right. Okay, good question, by the way. That was
You kind of went off on that.
Yeah.
That was good, though.
Thank you.
It was nice off the cuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a question that comes up a lot, and like I said, I'm an IT professional. I deal with the category cable all the time, but it's the same. It's the same field of thought.
It's kind of the same thing with most retail things. If you go bottom of the barrel, you're gonna have
a bad
time.
You're getting dirty video.
If you go super high end, you're getting ripped off.
Mm-hmm.
If you go middle of the road or a little over middle of the road, you're gonna have some pretty good stuff there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. This one was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And this has been a back and forth battle between Google and Amazon on all of their products.
It's a pissing match.
It's a pissing match, and it's I believe Amazon actually started it. They said we don't want Amazon Prime Video on Chromecast devices,
which is kind of interesting because I have a 4K TV I just bought, which has Chromecast built into it, but I can get Amazon Prime on it.
Yeah, you can now.
Yes,
you can now. And I think that's because there was some public outcry on why are you locking this down?
Yeah. Well, I had a Roku stick that would, supplement that if I wanted to, but I mean it's working now.
Right, exactly. my TV up here is a smart TV, but the rest of the house we've got Rokus, and it's the same deal. Yeah. But this has been a pissing match back and forth between Google and Amazon for quite some time. They'll come out with a new device that they go, oh, we don't want to let Amazon corner that market, or we don't want to let Google corner that market, so we're not going to allow our service on their device. It's stupid.
It sucks for the consumer.
It does.
It is kind of fun to watch on the sidelines. It's kind of like seeing two giants just smash each other in the head over and over and over again. But it's basically what it is it's like Amazon does not want to sell a lot of Google's products. They don't want to sell their Nest. I think they're not selling a lot of their other stuff.
Yep.
And as a result, Google's going, well, okay.
They're not selling our products. We're not going to put our product on your product.
We're not going to let YouTube stream on your Echo or on your Fire TV. Mm-hmm. Which I think YouTube is a pretty big thing. I use it all the time.
Yes. Obviously, so do I.
Obviously. I think it's a big product, so I think it's a big detriment to it. So, I mean...
Yeah. I'm a cord cutter. I've got Amazon Prime Video. I don't have YouTube Red or YouTube TV. I haven't subscribed to those, but I have PlayStation View, or I watch a lot of YouTube series.
I have Amazon Prime and Netflix, and those are both together.
Yeah, I've got Netflix as well.
Plenty of entertainment that I can consume.
You need to hurry up, man.
Oh my god!
I just finished.
Oh my god! You must have just swallowed that whole. Fine.
There we go. All right. You want to double down on that, or you want to go for the?
No, let's go with the heavy stuff.
All right. So I'm on the right. You're on the left. If we decide
we're gonna go nuclear here.
You want clown shoes or rock the castle?
Oh, I love clown shoes.
All right.
Let's go clown shoes.
All right.
Actually, I have this exact same pint glass.
I got that at a Tap Takeover somewhere. I don't remember where.
Well, that's where I got mine. I got it at Tap Takeover at Capitol.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's probably where I got mine. Yeah. I've been to so many beer events. All right, so this beer is from Pelican Brewing. This is the father of all tsunamis. Explain what this one is.
Okay, so Pelican has a tsunami stout. Right, that's one of their regular beers that they have. If you've ever had Pelican, I don't know how far Pelican distributes their beer, but they're all over Oregon.
I know they're Northwest. I know they're like Oregon, Washington, Idaho.
They're in Pacific City, Oregon. They're on the Oregon coast. Mm-hmm. And one of my absolute favorite beers of all time is made by Pelican. They have a beer called Mother of All Storms. It's a barley wine.
Ooh.
And this is their bourbon barrel aged version of their Tsunami Stout. So this is a bourbon barrel aged Tsunami Stout. So it is, what would you say it was, 11.2%? So it's thick, it's viscous, it's bourbony. It is absolutely delicious.
Both of us had a taster of this earlier.
Oh yeah. And I think most places, because it's 11.2%, they only serve it in snifters. They serve it in a little tiny glass.
Correct.
6 ounces, basically.
John says, Capital is where? John, you should know where Capital is.
Yeah, come on now.
Capital Tap Room is at, what's the address there?
It's off of State Street in Salem.
Yeah, it's on the corner of State and High, right by Elsinore Theater.
Yeah.
John, you know the address. Capital Tap Room, downtown Salem. We've broadcasted from there before. Good place, good beer.
Yeah. Now this is very good. It's got like some chocolate notes to it. It's got some sweet, almost coconutty notes to it.
Yeah. The coconut's what's biting through for me.
It's got very good body, very thick.
Mm-hmm. It's a beer you need to serve with a spoon.
Yeah. It's. I mean, you can just tell from the head. It's just very, very rich. It's a delicious beer. Mm-hmm. Getting through a pint will just it'll get to you.
That's good.
But it's very good. It's a sipping beer.
Yes.
Yeah.
not one you're gonna take full bites of.
Yes.
So.
But it's a very excellent beer. And I think they just released it. The reason why we actually got some of this is they do bottle this.
They sell it primarily in bottles. They only had a couple of kegs. Capital
Tap Room was one of the 2 places in Oregon that actually got the keg, so we got a growler of it.
Yep. And it's only a 5-gallon keg.
Yeah, not very big.
If you want to try this, they're the only place in Oregon that has it on tap because they waited for the other place to go out of tap.
Yeah, so right now, if you want to try this on tap, you have to go down to Salem and get it.
Yep.
Otherwise, you have to find a bottle of it. I don't know where they sell bottles of it. I mean, probably like John's Marketplace.
Probably John's Marketplace. There's a really good liquor store in Kaiser. I don't know if you've been to that one yet. They make.
Oh yes, I do know.
Yeah.
I do know that one. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, just Kaiser Liquor, Kaiser, Oregon, right just north of Salem.
Yeah, they have a
fantastic store.
Pretty decent beer selection for a liquor store.
Yeah, they do beer, liquor, and wine, and cigars. And probably the best selection of liquor in this area.
Yeah.
These aren't pitches. These are just places that I shop.
Yeah.
I'm not getting paid.
These are places we have been.
God, I wish they would sponsor me. Kaiser Liquor, if you're listening, I shop you all the time. Oh, if you would just sponsor me, I would give you a shout out every day.
If you would sponsor my liver.
Yes.
My liver will...
Think of my liver.
Yeah, think of my liver.
The number of people on my channel who comment on my videos who are concerned with the health of my liver is hilarious.
Yeah. Like, please.
You drink so much. I drink like literally during the show, and then I might have like a beer a night during the week.
No, not me.
Yeah.
I wake up and I shower in beer. That's people say they have a shower beer.
Yeah.
I literally have a shower beer.
Yeah.
I like have it just drenching me.
Yeah.
Nice in my hair.
And it's not cheap beer either.
No, I mean it's Budweiser. It is.
Okay.
But, I mean,
okay.
I
thought you said beer. That's water.
Well, yeah, it is.
I shower in Bud too, for that matter.
You're right.
All right. Next piece of news. I'm not sure what to think about this because it feels like we've been here before.
Yeah, this is deja vu all over again.
Yeah, for third time?
I don't. No, I think it's the second time. I don't remember them doing an ARM processor for anything. Okay, so
back in 2012,
Microsoft
announced that they were going to create an ARM version of Windows 8.1.
Yeah.
Or Windows 8 as it was at the time.
Yeah.
And they sold it pretty much exclusively on the Microsoft Surface RT.
Yeah, they did the Surface RT and they had the Windows RT, which was abysmal. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Now, I guess, the platform has a little more time to mature.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there are a little more apps on the Windows Store.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess they felt that this was the time to do another version of their ARM operating system.
Here's the kicker with ARM. You guys need snacks. We do need snacks. I don't think I have any snacks.
Any snacks? We got microchips, but that's not the same.
No, I took the peanuts out of my car.
Chips.
I usually keep like this barrel of honey roasted peanuts in my car, and I took it out. It's on my desk at work. Anyway, so Microsoft tried Windows RT already, which is an ARM-based version of Windows. It didn't work. They tried to introduce it with the Surface RT, which was an ARM-based, I believe Tegra 2 based, if it puts the age properly.
And the Tegra is not a bad video chip.
Not a bad chip.
No,
but the problem with Windows RT is it locks you down to using only the Windows Store. You can.
Nobody likes using the Windows Store.
No one likes.
Windows doesn't even like using the Windows Store.
Right. It's terrible. There's not a lot of apps. You can get Office, you can get Internet Explorer.
You can get your staples.
Yeah.
But if you want to go outside of that...
You can't get your Photoshop.
You can't get outside of that,
You can't get anything else. And this feels like either Microsoft trying to push their Windows Store further, but not having a concrete foundation on the Windows Store.
I think what they're doing is... Okay, so their Surface Pro is a very good tablet style / laptop PC. x86 processor, you got your standard Windows version on there, you got your standard Windows app you can put on there. You can even get some gaming on there that's actually pretty decent.
Yep.
So, and they've gotten some headway with that because it's a very popular platform, right? There's a lot of people who are behind that. So they're thinking, well, this is working for us, so okay, let's go shove this ARM thing again and see if it works.
Right. Let's try it again. Let's try to relaunch the Windows Store for a 6th time? Windows Phone is dead now.
Yeah, I have never used the Windows Store. Even for some of the, I know that the Xbox interface that they have for Windows 10 is on the Windows Store, and I've used that once.
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah,
I still stick with Steam with most of my gaming and stuff like that.
Yep, totally.
So I think I tried. what was the free racing game that they put out on that?
I hope someone makes a GIF of that, by the way.
I can't remember.
That was a solid face as I'm looking at the camera. Anyway, I
didn't like it.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the Windows Store. Not very flexible. Not a lot of apps. Not a lot of. I mean, you should have some standalone applications that are way more flexible.
Yeah.
So why would you want to use it? There's no real reason to use it. So I don't know how they're gonna.
My big takeaway is Microsoft needs to get all of its ducks in a row internally first,
right,
before they start trying to do these other pet projects. And what I mean by that is, if your goal is to monetize the Windows Store, then get in there, clean house of all of the bull crap that's inside of it. Because 99% of what's in there is free desktop backgrounds and screensavers and useless antivirus and knockoff programs and non-functioning games.
If they get to the level of like the Android Play Store or the iOS, if they get to the same levels, okay, I can understand them releasing something like that. But if they can
get to a curated store that's actually worth a damn,
they're not that level.
Then they got a shot at this. But the problem is they haven't done that.
I just think that they have the desktop monopoly. They have more people running Windows desktop, but they're trying to push this mobile desktop that nobody wants.
Right.
And it's not going to work.
Right, and the reason they're pushing the mobile desktop is to push people to that Windows Store, so they can make money off more.
If they were to price it as something way cheaper, okay, I remember the strategy that they had with the Xbox 360 when it first came out. The Xbox 360, when it first came out, they had a really good graphics capability. It was actually ahead of the curve of a lot of desktop cards that they had at the time, and they price pointed it down. They took the loss.
Yeah.
Right? If they took that strategy here and said, okay, we want to push the Windows Store, let's go price point our tablets, let's go price point our well, they don't have mobile phones anymore, but let's just price point it down
at something
below,
that's sellable.
Something below the iOS and the Apple stores. They might be able to get some headway there. Because they can offer it cheap,
and that's kind of what they're doing with the cheap Atom-based x86 tablets and mini laptops. Right. Fry's has had a deal for like the past 3 months locally that you can pick up a Windows 10 quad-core Atom-powered tablet with a keyboard for I think $60.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now it's some knockoff brand. It might even be Hyundai or something like that. But it's a absolute piece of garbage that probably won't last 3 months. Right. But because they don't have to pay for a Windows license on it, because Microsoft has made that concession, they can sell this tablet for $60. It kind of feels like Microsoft's talking out two sides of their mouth when it comes to their mobile division, because they've got the Surface Pro, which is one of the best-selling laptops out there as far as the Windows side of things goes.
Cool.
It's very cool. My problem is it's not repairable.
Well, okay, most tablets aren't, but
right. Oh, even more so. I've done repairs on Surfaces,
and they're just not fun.
It's not fun. It's not possible. And I'm good at this kind of crap. But they go buy a Surface Pro instead of an iPad Pro because you can actually do work on it.
Yeah.
Great point.
It is very true at that point.
The problem is their Surface Pro for a good, well-equipped model is about $1,600 versus the iPad Pro, which is like $850 to $1,000. Right. Meanwhile, Microsoft comes out with this other tablet,
which is going to be the same price point,
which is going to be $800 to $1,000,
same price point,
and be locked into the Windows Store and not have professional applications on it. So it's like, don't buy the iPad because it sucks, but buy our iPad down here instead.
With less applications.
With less applications and less support, and at least I can do some work on an iPad Pro.
It seems they're competing with themselves at this point. Yeah, it's not a very good.
So I want to get to two pieces of news. I think we'll skip a couple.
All right.
This one was really funny too.
I like this one too. This one was hilarious.
This one was clever.
This guy was very clever.
Yeah. If you haven't seen the story, go look it up. The link's down in the description. Yeah. This streamer on Twitch was it on Twitch?
Yeah, it was on Twitch.
It was on Twitch. Decided to stream the UFC 128 something like that.
Yeah. It was an event.
It was one of the UFC main events that was pay-per-view only. By streaming on Twitch, but putting himself on a live stream with a controller and pretending he was playing UFC Live.
So it was like he was playing the UFC game.
You son of a bitch!
Here's the thing: he would have gotten away with it. He wouldn't have gotten away with it. It wasn't for those meddling kids
I know.
and their dog, right? But he would have gotten away with it. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
I thought this guy was absolutely brilliant. But because of the fact this thing went viral.
They pulled the video.
Yeah, the fact that it went viral, he got. I mean, it wasn't a very big. It was a 24-hour suspension.
Right.
Not a big. He got a slap on the wrist. Come on.
Yeah, there's this Overwatch
But
stream.
I think it was just that.
I think it's brilliant.
I thought it was brilliant. Here's the thing. I hope this takes off. And what happens, because we got the new Star Wars movie coming out.
Right.
I want someone to stream the Star Wars movie. And then stream it like they're playing Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
Say, I'm streaming Battlefront 2, but it's actually the Star Wars movie.
Quite honestly,
do that.
If EA came out and said, we will let you watch The Last Jedi in your home if you buy Battlefront 2, I might buy Battlefront 2.
That would probably be the only thing that would get me to buy that.
Probably.
I would not buy Battlefront 2.
No.
I got suckered into buying the last EA Battlefront 1, and that was just the worst decision I ever made.
No, you gotta stick it with DICE.
Well,
stick with the original.
I like DICE. I mean, I like most of the Battlefield games, but these Battlefront ones they've just been disaster after disaster.
Yeah, my problem is they're half-baked mobile games that are sold as AAA titles, and then they're nothing but money-grabbing.
The first one wasn't.
The first one was only 4 levels.
But yeah, but the content was sporadic. There was nothing there. The only thing that really saved it, because
but they charged a AAA title for a game with 5 maps and 4 modes with no single player.
But here's the thing: is when they put it out, I bought it when it was on sale in Christmas time, so I paid like $30 for it. So I played the 4 levels to the extent. And I was done with it after that.
Yeah.
I was like, I had like a couple hours. I think I'm 10 hours into it. Maybe.
Yeah.
And then I stuck with it. I didn't buy any of the expansion packs. I mean, I kept with the news. I was like, okay, this expansion came out. They just released, I think it was a couple months ago, they gave all the expansion packs out for free.
Yep, and which is typical of a lot of these games.
So if
everyone but Call of Duty looking at you.
Well, that's Activision, not EA, But yeah, like that's the same thing with most Battlefields too. The same thing with Battlefield.
Do you know why EA is constantly rated the worst company in America? It's because Ubisoft is in.
Oh, they're in France. They're yeah.
Yeah. I love that joke. All right, on to some more serious tech news today.
This is serious.
This one was
serious.
AMD, when will you learn?
This is on the same level of the old NVIDIA 970.
Yeah, the 970.
Yeah.
4 gigabit.
3.5.
3.5.
3.5.
Really 3.5.
Lower clock RAM.
Yeah.
That's really what it was. Yeah. This is
the controller that peaks out at 3.5.
Yes.
They put 4 gigs on it. They should have just cut it off at 3.5 so the controller wouldn't have dropped to 1/8 speed.
Yes.
Neither here nor there.
Well, I think what they were doing with that 970, they're like, oh, well, no one's going to go over the amount. But then I think because like a lot of people who were playing GTA 5, they cranked it up and they would notice the performance degradation.
Right.
But
anyway, the RX 460 was announced almost 2 years ago now.
Yep.
And it had 896 stream processors, which is 14 compute units on the Radeon side. The RX 560 was supposed to be a step up. It's the same architecture. It's the same Polaris architecture.
But it's not the more CPU. So basically more processing.
They added 2 more compute units, which gave you 10,000 or 1,024 shader cores.
Yeah. Basically.
Stream processors.
Bigger amount of processing power.
More processing power, slight spec bump. It was a generational upgrade.
Yeah.
Or TikTok upgrade if you're Intel. Anyway, AMD is no stranger to rebranding. If you remember their 7900 series cards going to the 200 series cards, they basically rebranded everything.
Yep.
And in fact, at the top of that list, the 290 was rebranded into the 390 with a minor spec bump and a different memory controller, but it was the same core processor. This is insulting.
Yeah.
This is AMD at the end of the year. They go, we have all of these RX 460 chips that have not sold. You know what? Why don't we go ahead and lower the specs of what a 560 is and allow people to sell it under the new name? It's exactly what it was.
They're selling a lemon.
Yeah.
What they are.
Well, they're not selling a lemon. It's going to work, but it's going to work at 460 levels, not at 560 levels.
Not the same specs.
All of the RX 560 benchmarks to this point have included 1,024 stream processors, or 16 core units. AMD has changed the specs on the chip to allow the 560 to be branded with the lower end chip, with the chip from the 460. Every single benchmark, every single review that's ever been done on this chip has been done at that higher specification. And now there's nothing that manufacturers have to include that say, we're going to sell this with about 1/8 of the performance chopped off the top. And that's crap. Like I said, AMD's no stranger to rebranding. We're no stranger to rebadging. It happens in the tech industry. You've got too many components, or you're not quite ready to release the next gen, but you need to have a marketing boost, so you re-release something as another part number with a slight spec bump. This happens all the time. This is 8 months later, AMD saying, you know what, the 560 was here, we're going to make it here now.
Yeah. But they're not informing.
And they're not informing. All they did was change it on their website with zero announcement.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, 560 started showing up on Newegg and Amazon and things like that with 896 stream processors. Why can I not remember that tonight? This is an 11.2. I don't know if we mentioned that.
This is
11.2. The first was an 8.5. So plus a shot, plus a pint.
Start adding it up.
Yeah. 51 minutes. We got 9 more minutes to kill.
All right. We got this.
We got this.
We got this.
All right. Anyway, I think it's crap.
It's garbage.
AMD has since released a statement, and I'll go ahead and read this.
Yes,
this is on Gamers Nexus as well as a couple other places, because they reached out for comment because they thought this was crap as well. And if you go, in fact, let me pull up Steve's article from Gamers Nexus. If you don't follow him, follow him. He is an absolute brainiac who will... his videos are very long-winded, but at the same time, he gives so much good information. AMD statement. It is correct that 14 compute unit, 896 stream processor, and 16 compute unit, 1024 stream processor, versions of the Radeon RX 560 are available today. We introduced the 14 CU version this summer to provide AIBs, which is add-in board partners. It's people who make the boards for AMD. And the market with more RX 500 series options. It's come to our attention that certain AIBs and e-tail websites, there's no clear delineation between the two variants. We are taking immediate steps to remedy this. We're working with all AIB and channel partners to make sure the product and descriptions and names clarify the CU count so that gamers and consumers know exactly what they're buying. We apologize for any confusion this may have caused.
So it seems like they're kind of throwing...
They're throwing their AIBs under the bus.
Yeah,
that's exactly what they're doing.
We told them,
right?
But they didn't say anything.
They say this has been done since summer. This has not been done since summer. Yeah. This is something that's transpired in the last week.
This is saving face. This is covering their ass. Is what this.
And if you look here, and again the link's down in the description if you want to follow along at home. This is a screenshot up top of the RX 560 specs as it existed in June. This is a screenshot of the specs as it exists today.
The 14/16.
So originally it was 16 compute units. They've changed that to 14 or 16 compute units. Yeah. They changed the stream processors to 1024 to 896 or 1024, and they changed the peak performance from 2.6 teraflops to up to 2.6 teraflops.
Big difference.
Right, big difference.
Big difference.
And they're saying, oh, we've been doing that since summer. No, you have not, AMD. No, you have not. We're way more on top of this than you might think. So I think it's crap. I think I'm underwhelmed by their comments. There's some speculation that they were just trying to dump chips by year end so they could write them off and be done with them. Or, I don't even care if you come back out with the 460 and say, you know what, we're clearancing off a bunch of 460 cards. We'll give them to you at $80 each.
I think that would be like a much better
totally
marketing for them. They'd get a lot more positive press based on this. This is the negative.
Right, rather than saying, you're getting an RX 560. No, you're getting an RX 460 at the same RX 560 price. By the way, the prices didn't change.
Well, here's the thing that I didn't think, why would they ever think they would get away with it? Because after a while, people would start doing benchmarks on these things and be seeing widely different numbers.
I think they thought enough time had passed that people aren't going to go back and re-benchmark this.
Oh, yeah.
And so what tipped Steve off at Gamers Nexus to this was he said, we got a bunch of questions from people who were reading the specs say, hey, can you benchmark the new 560 cards? And Steve said, there's not a new 560 card. And they said, well, the specs changed. So he went and checked it out.
Yeah.
And what he discovered is this difference, is the 896 versus the 1024. And he goes, no, we're not going to be benchmarking that. You know why? Because we already did. It's called the RX 460.
Yeah.
It's the same exact card with the same exact specs.
Yeah.
We've already done that comparison. In fact, in their original benchmark, they put them side by side. So if you want to see benchmarks, we did them back in May. So, anyway, it's crap. This is the kind of thing that happens in the industry. Good on you, industry, and I'm putting myself in that, for calling AMD out for this. Because it's not right. It's not right that they're changing the specs later on to meet like budget numbers or whatever else.
It seems like a real sleazy marketing scheme,
That is really good.
I do love this.
Which one wins for the night? Are you a stout or are you an IPA?
You know, in the wintertime, I'm more of a stout guy.
I'm a stout guy in the winter. I'm a dark beer anyway.
And this is very good. Like I said, my very favorite beer in the wintertime is Mother of All Storms. That is a great barley wine, winter barley wine. But this kind of matches up with this almost.
When I can get it, I'm a long last kiss from Belgian Underground.
Belgian Underground, yes.
Yeah, that is my, if I can get it, oh man.
Yeah. No. Well, they had that. They
wrap me in a warm blanket, put me in front of the fire.
Over there. I almost thought about grabbing that.
I thought about that too. Yeah, those are fantastic. So, someone points out they've been made available to AIB since summer, and they were being sold in Asia as the 560D. And that is correct. So they have been selling these overseas under a different name.
Yeah.
And again, it's fine if you want to sell them under a different name.
I'm okay if you're selling them here under a different name.
Correct. They sold them as the RX 560 with no delineation or clarification for what it actually was. If they were to come in at an RX 550 or an RX 555 or some indicator that you're not getting the same chip.
Right. But they weren't.
Right.
They were doing it in China. Hey,
right.
That's great for the Chinese.
Yeah, exactly.
Not good for us.
Yep. So, shame on you, AMD. I'm sure they'll learn their lesson, and then they'll screw up.
Hope so.
And then they'll screw up again later on with something else. And as I say that, I've got the Threadripper right there. By the way, keen-eyed observers notice the Threadripper. This case is for that. I have one more video coming that's not Threadripper related, but I am diving into Threadripper on Saturday. I'm finally starting to put parts together. The first video should be posted sometime this weekend for Threadripper, so stay tuned to the channel. It's I have a really cool build planned. So, yeah, anything else that's come up?
I don't know. What do we got? How much time we got left?
We got about 3, 4, 5 minutes.
Do we have any more news items?
We got the Valve.
Oh, okay. There was the Valve
Bitcoin
thing.
news, yeah.
That was an interesting thing. So Valve drops Bitcoin as a Steam payment option. I don't know if this is the very first crack in the Bitcoin. I know Bitcoin's been going up and up.
Well, they lost almost 20% of their value day over day.
They do, but I think that was probably some of the thing that they were touting as one of the reasons to drop it was because of the volatility of the
the market is so volatile. Unless you're on top, literally hour by hour, you have to charge the appropriate price if you're Steam to get your value out of that Bitcoin.
It wasn't only just the volatility of the currency, but it was also the transaction cost of using it that they decided to drop it. So there's some big things there. I mean, as a commodity, I guess Bitcoin still has some really market value. People want to invest in it and see it go up, and they just want to sell it.
Right.
But I mean, as an actual validity in a currency, like I want to use this currency to actually purchase things. This is the first nail in the coffin, saying, okay, well, it just seems to be a commodity that's made up. It's a made up commodity.
It's a made up commodity. It's a made up self-regulated currency.
Right.
And with that, comes all the volatility that comes with that.
I mean, that was the whole point behind the Bitcoin, is to make it a online currency that you can use to buy and purchase goods, right?
Right, and more importantly, it was supposed to be self-regulating.
Yeah, it's supposed to be self-regulating. And Steam, being a very big, a marketplace for online purchases, dropping Bitcoin it's a big thing. That's a pretty big thing. I mean, it's still going to be a commodity that people want to trade and buy and sell.
Yep.
But if there's nothing backing it, if there's nobody who wants to use it as a currency,
correct,
it could stop dropping in value at this point.
And that's where it starts hitting the wall when it comes to what actual currency is. And and nationally and globally speaking, when we talk currency, there is a national product or something behind the currency that backs it up.
Right.
The root of currency, at least as it stands in the US and Europe and most of the Western world, is your national currency value was tied to a stockhold of silver and gold and things like that. Which is why if you have a US silver certificate, your $1 silver certificate is worth like $250 today because it's worth that weight in silver.
Yes.
It's not worth $1 in silver, it's worth 1 ounce or 1 pound in silver. Whatever, I forget what it is.
But you have something physical to tie it to.
Right, exactly.
Whereas
with cryptocurrency,
you don't have that.
Whatever.
It fluctuates.
And with Silk Road having all of its issues, with that guy in the FBI stealing $20 million out of Bitcoin, with the hacks that have dropped $75 million, which we can get to that one as well.
Yeah, we can cover that real quick.
There's
the Nicehash, which has been hacked. There's potentially $60 million worth of Bitcoins that were stolen from them.
Which is the second in as many weeks, if you've been following me. For a cryptocurrency.
There's a lot of instability in cryptocurrency just recently.
Yep.
So I mean, it's been kind of like the market darling for the last couple months, where people were seeing cryptocurrencies just going up, and up, and people think, well, this is the next big thing.
Right.
But then we're kind of seeing the little cracks,
little chinks in the armor, because it had this parabolic shift up. It can only go up so far before it's either got a plateau or start dropping.
As soon as it gets up so far, it gets the attention of people who want to exploit that.
Correct.
And then people who want to exploit that, we're seeing things like this where people get hacked. People find ways of exploiting the system. I mean, I'm not saying that cryptocurrency is not the wave of the future. It may be, but right now, there's a lot of ways to exploit it.
Right, and anymore, it's not physical items that are backing your gross national product. It's your gross national product that is backing the value of your currency. It's saying if I have $1 in the U.S., the gross national product of the U.S. will support that dollar. Yes. Not we have a stockpile of gold in Fort Knox that'll support that dollar. Yeah. So it's a little bit different way of thinking. And really, if you think of how banks do business, it's not we're taking $10,000 in a wheelbarrow from one to the other. It's here, have $10,000, and it's all digital and it's all electronic and it's all through wires. And where does that currency actually exist? Who holds the deed to your home when you buy a home and it goes and gets sold 3 times and whatever else? It's all electronic, and it's the way of the future. It's also a little bit scary to some people. But if you look at something like Bitcoin, it can hit and it can crash. And if there's nothing physical to support it. If there's no commodity or physical thing to support it, it can crash and it can go away. Yeah. Which is kind of
it doesn't look like it's going away right now.
I don't think it's going to go away now.
It doesn't look like it's going away now.
But if you have Bitcoin, I'd recommend starting to look at selling it or cashing in because when
it's at a peak, it's at a very high peak.
When it hit $1,000, or when it hit what was it, $10,000 per Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Was or $13,400? In one day, it dropped to $8,400.
Yeah. That's the volatileness of the market.
Right.
I mean, it's like basically basing your currency on a stock market ticker. It's basically what it is. That's very volatile. It's very, very volatile.
Hello from Mexico. Good to see you. Hey. Gerardo up 96. I'll give a wave if you say hi to me. I also got a funny question, off-topic question. What's the weirdest payment you've ever received for computer services rendered? I haven't answered that. While I'm getting that ready, what's the weirdest payment you've ever received for computer services rendered?
It wasn't weird. I mean, given the nature of this podcast, I've received beer for services rendered for.
I've been paid in beer.
So that's
I get paid in beer all the time.
Given to the context of this thing, it's not that weird. But I think given into the real world context of things, that's a little weird. But
so in my early days of getting into tech professionally, I was running low on money. I was recently married. I put an ad on Craigslist and said, I'll fix any computer issue you have. I'll come to your house. I'll do in-home service. Yeah. Like flat rate $80. I'll come to your house. I'll fix your thing for $80. If it requires parts, I'll come back and I'll buy the parts and I'll bring them to you. That kind of thing. But flat rate computer service. Well, this one guy contacted me and said, "Would you be willing to trade for that?" And I said, "Well, what do you got?"
Was it sexual?
And it wasn't sexual. That's another story. So I'm like, "Well, I'm intrigued. What do you got?" And he goes, "I have just some random things that might be worth some money to someone." And I said, "Okay, well, tell you what, I'll come up. I'll take a look at what you got, and we'll talk. Well, it depends on what you need out of me, and it depends on what you have." So one of those items has been on display. No one has pointed it out yet.
Oh, that was your Star Trek chess.
This is my three-dimensional Star Trek chess set, which is the Franklin Mint Star Trek chess set, which debuted back in the original series of Star Trek chess. I'll sit back down in frame here, so you're not looking at my crotch. It debuted in the original series with Spock and Kirk playing, and it later evolved into... It made an appearance in the Next Generation. This is the Next Generation three-dimensional chess set from the Franklin Mint. This was released in, I believe, 1992 for the cost of about $500, and I have a certificate of authenticity for it. I have the original box. I have everything else.
Are you trying to sell it right now?
No, I'm not. No, this is mine. This is mine. Yeah. These are gold pieces, silver pieces down here. The stand is gold. It's a beautiful piece. I love this thing. It's been in the background of almost all of my videos since I moved into my studio here. As part of that package, I also received the
phaser.
The Type 2 phaser, which has also been in a couple of my videos if you watch my shelf. So I received the Franklin Mint Type 2 phaser, which was originally about $350 or $400. I don't remember which. But this one is pewter with gold accents. So, yeah, I got some Star Trek collectibles for doing some computer work. He needed a hard drive formatted, Windows reinstalled, and he had a couple bad RAM sticks or something like that.
What version of Windows?
I'm going to date myself.
I was going to say, it depends on what version of Windows to date yourself, you have to say, because what version of Windows makes a difference.
Millennium.
Oh! Wow.
Might have been XP. It might have been XP.
If it was XP,
we weren't to Service Pack 1 yet.
It would have been like worth it. But millennial means like, oh god, you got the better deal.
I got the better deal. Yeah. He also had the Klingon Disruptor, and I wanted all three for the work that I was doing for him. And he goes, no, for the work you're doing, you can take like two of them. And so I took the chess set and I took the Type 2.
That's still pretty good.
But what sucks is the Disruptor is the one that actually held its value. Yeah. And I wish I had that today. So if you have like $80 in computer work and you have a Klingon Franklin Mint Disruptor, I'd be more than happy to talk to you. Yep. Anyway, that's about as good a place as any to end it.
Hey, it was a good time.
That was a good time. That was good beer.
That was a good beer.
Good beer.
All right.
See you next week. I should have a video coming out tomorrow on actually the camera we've been using the last almost month now to record our podcasts. Really interesting camera. If you're a streamer or anyone like that, you're going to be interested in this piece. That video should be live tomorrow night or maybe Friday morning sometime. And then after that, left hand, we're getting to Threadripper.
Yeah,
Threadripper. All right. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks for watching.
All right. Good night.